Over 40 million Americans drink from private wells. Most have never had the water tested. My family filtered ours through sand, charcoal, and gravel for generations. It cost almost nothing. In 1958, that method vanished from the codes, right as cartridge filter companies moved in. What got replaced, who profited, and how you can build one for under $30. That starts inside a barrel full of sand. If you look inside one of these barrels, you find a system that mimics the earth itself. Gravity is the only engine. It draws raw water downward, pulling it slowly through layers of natural media without the need for artificial pressure. At the very bottom sits a coarse support bed of gravel. This layer does not filter the water. It stabilizes the flow, keeping the sand above it from shifting or draining out. Directly above the gravel rests the main filtering bed, composed of fine, clean sand. As water percolates through, this dense sand layer physically strains out suspended particles, silt, and cloudiness. But the most sophisticated work happens at the very top of the sand, where a thin biological skin forms over the first few weeks of use. Science calls this layer the Schmutzdecke, German for dirty skin. It is a living colony of beneficial microbes that actively prey on pathogens, capturing bacteria and protozoa through biological predation. Beneath the sand, a layer of activated charcoal uses its porous structure to perform a different kind of cleanup. Through a process called adsorption, organic compounds, unpleasant tastes, and chemical odors cling to the carbon's microscopic surfaces. Even the World Health Organization has documented slow sand filtration as a highly effective, low-cost water treatment method. Yet, we must be clear about its limits. While this natural process removes turbidity and reduces pathogens, it does not guarantee the removal of all biological hazards, especially viruses. My grandfather knew this. He taught us that well water should always be tested, and any water run through a home-built system must still be boiled or disinfected to be truly safe. This was the elegant, self-sustaining science that kept rural households safe for over a century. My grandfather didn't buy clean water, he built it. For generations, layered sand and charcoal filtration was ordinary household practice across the American countryside. Farm families relied on simple gravity filters built from local gravel, clean sand, and hardwood charcoal. This was common knowledge, passed down through oral tradition, shared in farm journals, and printed in early government extension bulletins to help families stay self-sufficient. But in 1958, the way we treated household water shifted. That was the year the World Health Organization published its first international standards. Soon after, the United States Public Health Service updated its own guidelines, and local plumbing codes quickly followed. Officially, the goal was safety. In practice, these updates quietly removed gravity-fed household filters from approved building codes. By rewriting the definition of an approved system, regulators turned their backs on the simple barrel filter. The plumbing industry and trade associations stepped in to promote a new standard, pressurized certified systems. Because a homemade gravity filter did not have a corporate logo or an industry stamp, inspectors stopped passing homes that used them. Suddenly, municipal hookups and commercial water systems became the expected household default, and self-reliant methods were treated as public health hazards. This regulatory push drove consumers directly to the market. The industry did not want you building a system for $40 that lasted for decades. They wanted you to buy a pressurized canister. They wanted you dependent on replaceable commercial cartridges. Today, that decision has grown into an industry worth $10 billion annually. We traded a lifetime of self-reliance for a subscription model, buying $30 cartridges every few months just to keep our taps clean. To build one of these filters, I start with a 55-gallon food-grade plastic barrel or a clean ceramic vessel fitted with a brass outlet valve installed just above the bottom. The first layer consists of several inches of clean, coarse gravel. This bed acts as a structural support, keeping the finer filtration materials from draining out or shifting. On top of the gravel, I add a thick layer of granular activated charcoal, about 10 pounds, which works to catch dissolved chemicals, organic compounds, and bitter tastes. The final largest layer is clean, fine river sand, which fills the vessel nearly to the top and does the heavy lifting of physical filtration. When you pour raw water slowly into the top so the flow stays gentle, gravity draws it downward through the stack. The water passes through the sand, then the charcoal, and finally the gravel, allowing you to collect the filtered water from the lower outlet by gravity. But we must address the strict safety boundaries of this setup. While this method reduces particulates and many contaminants, it does not guarantee the elimination of all biological hazards, like certain viruses. Well water should always be tested before relying on the system. In addition, filtered drinking water should still be boiled or otherwise disinfected to ensure it is completely safe. This simple, low-cost assembly was once a staple of rural self-reliance, requiring only basic materials, patience, and some physical labor to assemble. I saw this old science put to the test on a small family homestead in eastern Kentucky. Every time a heavy storm rolled through those hills, their private well water turned cloudy, thick with suspended clay and fine sediment that took days to settle out of their drinking cups. Instead of calling an expensive water contractor or hooking up to a municipal line, they sourced a clean 55-gallon food-grade plastic barrel. They built the gravity filter using river sand and gravel they gathered from a nearby creek bed, keeping their total setup cost under $30. Their only real expense was 10 pounds of activated charcoal purchased at the local feed store. For 5 years, that single home-built setup ran continuously, turning muddy post-rain runoff into consistently clear, clean water. During that entire 5-year span, the household bought 0 commercial replacement cartridges, completely bypassing the recurring fees that modern filter companies demand. It was a quiet, functioning proof point operating right there in the hills, showing that traditional self-reliance still works without the need for a corporate subscription. This simple setup was no isolated trick born in the hills. It was part of a global lineage. Back in 1829, James Simpson built a massive slow sand filtration system for the Chelsea Waterworks in London, cleaning municipal water long before anyone used chemical disinfectants. My own ancestors applied that exact same logic in our Tennessee spring houses and milk houses, routing raw water through stone troughs packed with sand and hardwood charcoal. Long before the Rural Electrification Act brought power lines to these valleys, farm families solved their water problems using nothing but gravity, natural media, and patience. It was a shared inheritance of self-reliance passed down through generations who knew how to read the land. Across continents and centuries, the recurring answer to bad water remained the same: sand, charcoal, gravel, gravity, and time. We had a reliable, cost-free solution that belonged to the people. It required no corporate middleman. Yet, within a single generation, this practical knowledge was erased from our collective memory, leaving us dependent on things we have to buy. Everything I have documented across this channel, the food, the water, the seeds, the land, is being collected in one place: the Lost American Home Manual. Get on the early access list now at earlhadley.card.co. The link is in the description below. Tell me in the comments if you are on well water and whether you have ever actually had it tested, because that is the first thing you should know before relying on any filtration method. If you believe a filter that gave American families clean water for generations should not have been replaced by a subscription cartridge you have to keep buying, you already know what to do. Next time I'm going to show you the soil restoration method American farmers used before chemical fertilizer took over, and why your garden might be working harder than it needs to.